Good afternoon. There was a big thank you from Coldplay in Toronto to 50,000 fans who made the pilgrimage to the new Rogers Stadium.
But the lead singer describes the stadium and the location as weird. We're following up on the big show today. And CTV's Rahim Ladani is at Rogers Stadium once again this morning. Rahim, weird, huh?
Hey, Nathan. Yeah, weird is the word that Chris Martin used. And I guess he's been following CTV News and our coverage because he made light of the issues that have surrounded this venue in its early days. Now, by all accounts, those who were actually at the concert last night had a phenomenal experience. There was a packed house with 50,000 seat open air venue of people filled inside. Coldplay played their biggest hits along with their well-known light show. Leaving the venue after the concert was much more organized compared to the first concert last week. People did still have to wait to exit, some around 40 minutes after the show, but staff were able to better handle directing the traffic and leading people to subway and GO stations. Take a listen to what Chris Martin of Coldplay told the crowd last night.
Thank you for waiting 8 years and 10 minutes for us. And we'd like to say thank you so much for coming through all the bull you have to come through to this weird stadium in the middle of nowhere. So thank you for...
Coldplay is set to play their second of 4 shows tonight, and while it's expected to be another electric atmosphere, area residents are bracing for another loud night. Ahead of last night's concert, residents who live beside the stadium were mainly concerned about the road closures in their neighborhood, but this morning, the people we've been speaking with say their windows were shaking from the music. People were coming up asking to rent out their driveways. One woman says she was even threatened. Have a listen to how area residents are feeling.
People walking through our property not really caring what was going on. They told us that we're here at the concert, we paid for it, and lump it sort of thing.
You know what? The city is not listening to us. This is our community, and all of a sudden we have this big situation going here, and I don't see the end to it. And you know what? Should we put up with this all summer long? I don't know.
Now, Area Councillor James Pasternak is actually here in the area this morning and this afternoon, rather, talking with residents who are voicing their concerns. We spoke with him a short while ago, and he says improvements do need to be made because things are off to a rough start. He says that he was brought into the conversation of building the stadium way late into the game after plans were already in motion, and he says that Live Nation told the city that the best sound absorption technology would be used to minimize the impact on residents. Residents clearly say that isn't working. Reporting live, I'm Rahim Ladani. I'll send it back to you both in studio.
Thank you, Rahim. Still to come this half hour, we're hearing for the first time about a City Hall whodunit. The city's auditor has uncovered a fraud scheme where electricity contracts for 14 city properties were switched to third-party energy retailers, and it could have cost the city millions of dollars.
1-2. And Barcher hits a fly ball to deep right field, and this one is gone.
That's Addison Barger for the Blue Jays, breaking last night's game against the White Sox open in the 6th inning with a 2-run homer to give the Jays a 5-1 lead. They went on to win the game 8-4 to keep their red-hot winning streak alive. And our Sean Leathong joins us live now from a baseball camp of all places, where I'm sure, Sean, the kids are keeping a close eye on the Jays. I know in my household, everybody's wearing their Jays hats.
Yeah, there's a little spring in their step today here at True North Sports Camp up at Bond Park in North York. Many of the players here talking about this streak and how they're feeling about it, and specifically how the players have been doing it this year, because as we have to say, the Blue Jays were not expected to be doing exactly what they're doing this year. What are they doing exactly? As we saw last night, their 9th win in a row as they beat the Chicago White Sox. The Blue Jays sweeping their home series against the Yankees and the Anaheim Angels in the last few days. Beyond that, having won 9 in a row is closing in on the longest winning streak in franchise history. This is the longest winning streak they've had since 2015. Back in 2015, the Blue Jays actually won 11 games in a row 2 separate times. They also did the year prior to that in 2014. They did it in 1987 and beyond and beyond. Now, we do remember the 2015 team. That was the team that won the American League East and went to the ALCS, the American League Championship Series. Well, This team now currently sits in first place in the American League East, a 3.5 game lead on the Yankees, and it's amazing to know that this team was actually under 500 at the end of May. But we talked to some of the players and some of the coaches at this baseball camp about how they feel about this team right now, and here's what they had to say.
They just have the strength and power to win. To have like the right pitching staff and everyone's contributing. I think it's incredible, and I'm not really sure how it's happening, to be honest. I'm really excited. It's just a great feeling for playoff baseball to come to Toronto.
I think in the next three years we'll be there. I think the World Series will be calling our name, and there'll be another championship parade in Toronto.
So you see the players working on rundowns right now at True North Sports Camp here, and you can tell how hard they're going. That it's pretty good. It's going to be a pretty short time before maybe a few of these guys are playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, but many want to focus on right now, asking a number of the players if they think the team has what it takes to go to the World Series. Many saying, of course, they have what it takes, with one kid saying he doesn't think so. Reporting live, I'm Sean Leathong. Nathan and Michelle, send it back to you.
I'm with the majority. Thank you, Sean. We have more news in a moment, but first, here's a live look at the city this afternoon. Again, shorts and T-shirt weather. A few clouds, another day for lots of sunblock and water if you're outside, maybe at a camp. There's also a chance of rain tomorrow. Jessica Smith is back with a look at the current condition. It seems like this time of year, there's always a chance of rain.
We have that heat and humidity that builds up, and that chance when that cold front comes through to slice through it and create that chance of active weather, it just kind of exists all the time. But the good news is today it is staying dry, but we do still have a UV index, even though we have a little bit of cloud cover out there. So again, sun protection, hydration key for the campers and for anybody really spending any time outdoors. We're in the 20s already, 27 through Niagara, 21 in Peterborough, Kingston sitting at 20, 19 in London, and that's before you factor in any kind of a humidex. As we head throughout that kind of second half of our day, we will start to warm up a little bit, but through the islands right now, we're sitting at 22, but it feels like 28. We're getting into that kind of sticky weather situation. It is fairly seasonal, though, so as we step into the next few days, you can enjoy a little bit of a kind of seasonal stretch before we start to warm up again as we head in towards the end of the week and beginning of next week. But temperature-wise, if you're playing baseball outside today, maybe you're playing football, you're at sports camp, dance camp, any kind of camp, it's a beautiful day, especially if you want to go for a swim. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, but for now, I'll send things back over to Nathan and Michelle.
Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
We're getting another look today at plans for a private spa at the site of Ontario Place.
According to Therma, it will be a smaller complex with a quiet retreat along the lake. CTV's Queen's Park Bureau Chief Siobhan Morris has the latest.
This is a piece of treasured waterfront land in transition, the area west of the iconic Cinesphere, soon to be home to a controversial private spa and water park in a 95-year lease with the province. Its futuristic design has gone through some tweaks.
The whole building is 25% smaller, and that's just sort of a combination of hearing feedback from community about concern about scale. Interior, can we do that in a more efficient way?
Moving a hulking 3,500 spot parking garage east opened up more options.
All of this is public green space.
The reimagined West Island includes 16 acres of public land, a new beach, cultural spaces, a trail that mimics the meandering of the Credit River.
We have draped the parkland on top of the roof, which connects directly to the ground plane.
The Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation have collaborated on wetlands and cultural pavilions designed with their history in mind.
For musicians, for dancers, to kind of engage in that space and do these like large-scale public celebrations.
Even though the pay-to-access Therma building will physically stand between visitors and some of these public spaces, the design team says it will be visually clear those areas are for everyone.
The idea here is that people will be able to understand that it's part of the larger Ontario Place. It is not separate from, it is fully connected to.
Architects believe they've captured the family fun of the old Ontario Place water park. But there are 21st century updates, a shift indoors for splashing around 365 days a year, and a new vision for a more quiet lakeside retreat for the grown-ups.
Here's a pool connecting to the exterior, mineral baths around the edges, connecting to views out the window, food and beverage, cafe at the side, and here we are rising up through the building where there's more access to sauna, more access to therapy spaces.
One of the persistent criticisms of the Therma project
script has been to call it a luxury spa. Adam Vaughn says nothing could be further from the truth, and that the goal is to have daily admission around $40.
This is the place for families to come, working families, to come and have a great day, whether it's in June, July, December, or February.
Therma projects it will draw 2.5 million visitors a year, 15,000 on its busiest days. While this corner of the Ontario Place redesign has been the focus of most of the criticism, as far as Vaughn is concerned,
it's entirely in keeping with the spirit of what Ontario Place was supposed to be, a place to come and have fun, but also a place to come and learn about Ontario.
An experience still several years away. Siobhan Morris, CTV News.
In Texas, search efforts are continuing for victims of the catastrophic flooding that killed more than 100 people. Crews are searching by air, water, and land. Some are using heavy equipment as part of the massive operation to find missing people. Teams benefited today from improving weather as storms that hit the hill country for 4 days began to lighten up. They're being joined by hundreds of volunteers who've shown up to help with one of the largest rescue operations in Texas history. And CTV's Scott Hurst is following the latest developments and joins us now. Scott, it seems like they're all coming together to do something. What's the latest?
Nathan, the main focus right now is the ongoing search effort. However, now in its 5th day, crews are combing the region, doing anything they can in the ongoing search and rescue and recovery efforts. However, the reality is setting in for many, and hope is fading that they will be able to find any more survivors, as we learned just in the past hour that the death toll has risen to close to 110, and that number is likely to continue as the hours and days pass, and the search and rescue teams likely to find more people who've been tragically killed in this devastating flooding that swept through the region early Friday morning on July 4th, Independence Day, south of the border. And the process that the rescue crews are going through is painstaking, with infrastructure losses like roads and power lines swept away, debris littering the ground, massive trees uprooted. They're doing everything they can to search by foot, but in some cases still wading through knee or waist-high floodwaters, by vehicle, by boat, and from the air. The physical and emotional demands incredibly taxing for the search crews coming from all over Texas and some surrounding states as well. You mentioned that there appears to be a bit of a break in the weather, and it is finally poised to cooperate, which has caused so much pain and heartache, of course, so far. The forecast is calling for the rain and spot thunderstorms to let up through the day, with drier and warmer conditions for Wednesday through the rest of the week, Nathan.
And Scott, what are we learning about some of the victims?
Every update we're getting from Texas is just incredibly tragic. Every video we're seeing is heartbreaking to see and devastating, and just you see the sheer power of the water, particularly this time-lapse video right here, how quickly this river swelled and spilled its banks. Now, we are learning more and more about some of the victims, including, as we've been hearing from Camp Mystic, that Christian girls camp already confirmed that 27 of its campers and counselors were killed, and there are still 5 campers and 1 counselor unaccounted for. But we're also learning about 8-year-old twin sisters at the camp who tragically lost their lives. They're from Dallas. Their parents confirming that the 2 young girls just finished grade 2. Of course, at the time, just a few days ago, those parents were dropping those girls off at camp, thinking they're about to make memories of a lifetime. Now, for the family, for the parents, just a raw emotional wound, not just losing a child, but losing children. We're hearing devastating stories about entire families losing their homes and businesses, and parents doing everything they can to save their young children, get them to high ground, but unfortunately the parents then being swept away. So with every passing hour and every passing day, we're learning more and more about the tragedy that's unfolding, as the death toll is now pushing 110 and expected to rise in the hours and days ahead, Nathan.
All right, CTV's Scott Hurst in the CTV National Newsroom. Thank you.
Thanks, Nathan.
Well, the White House says U.S. President Donald Trump's expected to visit Texas as early as Friday to survey the damage. But last night, he was tackling another pressing matter, the conflict in the Middle East.
President Trump sat down with Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu for a private dinner where the 2 leaders discussed the situation in Gaza and rising tensions with Iran. But no ceasefire deal was announced.
I think they've gained a lot of respect for us. I think they've gained a lot of respect for Israel also. But they would like to meet, and we're going to have a meeting. Steve, when is that meeting going to be? Do you want to say?
Rather, very quickly. Very quickly.
in the next week or so.
The two leaders exchanged compliments on their alliance in addressing the conflict between Israel and Iran. The two countries continue to work to dismantle Iran's nuclear capabilities. Netanyahu praised Trump for his involvement and surprised the U.S. president by announcing he has nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
He's forging peace as we speak in one country and one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Wow. Thank you very much.
Negotiators from Israel and Hamas met recently in Qatar to hammer out the details of a possible 60-day truce, which would see hostages released and aid delivered. Trump's envoy to the Middle East will reportedly join the talks later this week.
Meantime, President Trump has also reiterated his stance on tariffs against imports from U.S. trading partners.
We've made a deal with United Kingdom. We've made a deal with China. We've made a deal. We're close to making a deal with India. Others we met with, and we don't think we're going to be able to make a deal, so we just send them a letter. If you want to play ball, you have to. This is what you have to pay.
Trump started sending out tariff letters to those that haven't reached a deal with the U.S. 15 as of this morning, to be exact. The letters outline the levies each country faces, ranging from 25 to 40%. The White House says the letters will continue to go out to countries that don't strike a deal by August 1st, a deadline Trump extended just yesterday. Canada is not part of the list, but Ottawa has committed to its own deadline of July 21st.
A 14-year-old boy has been identified as the city's latest homicide victim, killed in a stabbing near Woodbine Park. Abdulaziz Sar was stabbed at a McDonald's in the area of Coxwell and Eastern Avenues just after 10 Saturday night. Investigators say bystanders flagged down paramedics after the boy was stabbed. He was transported to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Police say hundreds of people were in the area when the stabbing occurred. They're hoping to speak to any witnesses. So far, police have not released any details about possible suspects.
Some 50 Canadians have been detained by ICE, the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency.
One of them died in custody, and now that's left the families of others worried about their loved ones. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
It has been more than 3 months since Maria Estela Cano watched as her daughter was arrested in Florida, and she's been fighting to get her released ever since.
It's really horrible for her, horrible. You say they punish people for nothing.
Cano says her daughter, Paula Callejas, was taken into custody after a fight with her then boyfriend. She scratched him after being shoved to the ground. The Canadian designer was living in Florida where she was building her swimwear business and waiting for her visa application to be processed. After being charged with a misdemeanor, she was handed over to Immigration and Customs Enforcement, known as ICE. Since then, Callejas has been moved to multiple detention centers, sometimes crammed 6 people to a cell. She is currently in Arizona, where her anxiety medication has been taken away, and the family says they are struggling to get basic information about her case.
She's scared too much. She's scared. And she's saying, Mommy, I'm asking, but please let me go, let me go. Like, why keep her there?
As part of its immigration crackdown, the Trump administration has pushed ICE to make at least 3,000 arrests a day. They say the targets are murderers and drug dealers, but many more are being caught up in the raids. Global Affairs Canada says at least 55 Canadians are currently in ICE custody, a number the government says is typical, though they note it can fluctuate. While Global Affairs won't provide specific information on Callejas' case due to privacy, they say consular officials are in contact with local authorities to gather more information, as well as with the individual to provide consular assistance. At least one Canadian, Jasmine Mooney, has been released after being held for nearly 2 weeks. While last month, Canadian Johnny Noviello died while in ICE custody. His death is under investigation.
Paula Callejas' family says it was the death of Noviello that prompted them to speak out. While they are able to speak with Paula multiple times a week, they say her mental health is suffering, and they worry she might not make it home alive. Heather Wright, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Ontario's premier was on News Talk 1010 this morning following his visit to Calgary, where he signed 2 agreements on trade and energy.
One of the non-binding memorandums of understanding includes the construction of a pipeline to move oil from Alberta. And today, Doug Ford said he'll be putting pressure on the federal government.
These are big national infrastructure projects that we need. They're long overdue. And just get rid of the regulations. It's just endless regulations from the last 10 years of the Trudeau government. This is once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Deb, that I've seen in the fact that we have everyone on side. Everyone's singing off the same song sheet, and it'll bring prosperity to everyone right across the country.
The construction of the pipeline would be conditional on the use of Ontario-made steel. The Premier has also agreed to help build a railway to Northern Ontario's mineral-rich Ring of Fire region. The other memorandum would see Alberta buy its government vehicles from automakers in Ontario. In exchange, Ontario will put Alberta-made alcohol in LCBO stores.
Well, the city of Toronto has a whodunit on its hands after a sophisticated energy contract fraud was uncovered.
The fraud could have cost the city millions of dollars by shifting electricity purchases away from Toronto Hydro, and the person responsible has not been identified. CTV's John Musselman is at City Hall and joins us now live with more. John.
Well, this dates back nearly 6 years ago to 2019 when the city found some unusual invoices dealing with electricity. Now, upon following up with the Toronto Hydro and 2 energy retailers, the auditor's report found that the electricity accounts were switched in July 2019 with an estimated value of $4.2 million, of which $2.5 million represented what could have been lost by the city had these unusual invoices not been identified. Now, we should note that the city did identify this issue and they did recover the money, but it was highlighted in the auditor's report. And we hope to have some reaction from some of the city councillors and audit committee members on this issue, because it could have cost them, the city, quite a bit of money here, nearly $2.5 million before it was caught. Reporting live at City Hall, I'm John Musselman. I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, John. Active Canadian Armed Forces members are among 4 men charged in an alleged plot to take over land in the Quebec City area. The RCMP alleged 3 men in their 20s have been planning to create an anti-government militia and participated in military-style training to facilitate terrorist activity. Officers carried out searches in January 2024 that led to the seizure of explosive devices, firearms, ammunition, and night vision goggles. A 33-year-old has been charged with possessing firearms, prohibited devices, and explosives, among other offenses.
It's being described as ideologically motivated violent extremism. And the shocker here is that it includes some members of the Canadian Armed Forces. Let's bring in CTV's Colton Prale, standing by in Ottawa with more on this RCMP investigation. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Michelle, just learning that this is a 2-year RCMP investigation that started in March of 2023. The searches that you're referring to happened in January of last year, almost 17 months ago at this point. Very extreme measures taken to investigate this, a lot of it having to be done online due to the radicalized nature of this investigation. The 3 men that you talked about there charged with ideologically motivated extremism, allegedly trying to create a paramilitary anti-government group, and were allegedly advertising that group on Instagram, trying to recruit in new members. Terrorism experts say this is an area where law enforcement in Canada has been incredibly successful based on the lack of terrorism actions in the country over the last several years, and it's something the RCMP says they are quite proud of as well. Have a listen to an interview with the RCMP just a few moments ago.
What I can tell you is that it's a big win for us to have these charges laid. Ideologically motivated violent extremism is something that worries the RCMP across the country. It's something that is hard to investigate, but that really needs to be dealt with. So having this investigation after a little over 2 years, going to arrests and charges being laid is something we're very proud and happy about.
But some pretty significant concerns here, Michelle, and they are twofold. First off, the involvement of active members of the Canadian Armed Forces. Terrorism experts say it's really difficult to determine the amount of extremism beliefs that exist within the armed forces. They say there is a very permissive atmosphere in the CAF, but due to a lack of access for researchers, it's really difficult to determine just how extensive those beliefs are, how many members of the CAF it may impact. We have seen previous arrests take place. You think back to 2021 in Manitoba, where an Army reservist was charged with taking part in a paramilitary group. They're now serving 9 years in an American prison. The other element of this that is so concerning is the scale of the weaponry that was seized. In that January seizure, we are talking about 83 firearms and accessories, pistols, automatic rifles, hunting-style rifles. We're talking about 16 explosive devices, 130 magazines, including high-capacity magazines, and crucially here, 11,000 rounds of ammunition. That is very difficult to stockpile. The terrorism expert I was speaking to says that is by far the largest stockpile of weaponry that exists in a case related to anti-government paramilitary activity, certainly in Canada, but it is up there among seizures globally. The concern for security officials like Chris Lewis, the former head of the OPP, is the amount of weaponry here that was seized and exactly how they came to possess that weaponry. Here's Chris Lewis.
A little confusing still because there's so many details we don't know. But members of the Canadian Armed Forces, a terrorist act of some sort, charged with terrorism offense, apparently military ammo and weapons, etc. But you just don't come by a lot of those things on the street. And what were their intentions? It's a frightening situation.
And when it comes to their intentions, Michelle, that is one thing the RCMP couldn't speak to. They could not say if there was, an attack planned down the line or what exactly they were hoping to do with this property they were allegedly planning to seize. We may learn more throughout the court case. They make their first court appearance in Quebec City later this afternoon. Michelle?
Thank you. CTV's Colton Prale with all the details from Ottawa. Appreciate it.
Well, big cuts could be coming to the federal government. Prime Minister Mark Carney has asked his cabinet to find savings by the end of summer. The Carney government will table its first budget this fall, and it's already facing criticism for spending promises, including increased NATO defense commitments. CTV News has learned ministers have been tasked with tightening their belts and finding 7.5% in savings for the fiscal year. The PM then wants those savings to increase to 10% in 2027 and 15% the year after that.
Toronto police handed out more than 3,000 tickets during an 11-day traffic enforcement blitz last month, targeting people who block lanes during rush hour. The tickets were issued from June 16th to the 27th. 200 vehicles were towed for violating no stopping zone rules. The campaign focused on high traffic areas downtown between 3 and 7 p.m. Police say the goal here was to remind drivers about the importance of keeping traffic flowing. Keep in mind, a second blitz is set for September.
In Brampton, a large sinkhole has forced the closure of a stretch of Steeles Avenue. Now, this image was released by Peel Police. It shows the crater in the eastbound lanes of Steeles from Airport Road to Goreway Drive. The closure is expected to remain in place until at least later this afternoon.
And a section of Bloor Street was closed in the High Park area this morning due to a fuel spill. Police and fire were on the scene at Bloor Street and Parkside Drive. Eastbound lanes on Bloor are closed at High Park Avenue. Police are urging commuters to use caution in this area while the problem is cleaned up. Jess.
A little cloud cover to start the day, but a very seasonal one ahead of us. If you do plan on spending some time outside, sun protection and hydration are going to be key to enjoying that time outdoors. But as we settle into our Tuesday, we're looking at a daytime high this afternoon, 28, but it will feel like 35 and a nice light southwesterly wind. It's there, but it's not doing much to cool things down. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast, including tracking a bit of a system set to bring the potential of rain into the day tomorrow. Coming up, I'll have a full look at your long-range forecast.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Well, it is a cloudy Tuesday, but maybe you like the fact that it doesn't feel overwhelmingly hot. There's still humidity there, but it feels fresher to me.
Yeah, I remember like on the weekend, it felt like you were walking into a wall of just heat, like a sauna, but now it's actually more comfortable.
It's nice. Like over the weekend, the backs of my knees were sweating. It was so hot. So it's just kind of nice to have manageable, very seasonal heat. We kind of had that bit of a heat wave to kick off the summer season where it was feeling like into the mid-40s. We're kind of back into where we should be for this time of year. But don't let the cloud cover fool you. It's still very warm out there. We still have a humidex into the mid-30s and a UV index very, very high. Weather is brought to you by the Presler Law Firm. Injury lawyers, you don't pay unless they win. A little cloud cover out there, but that never stopped nobody from having a good time. It's beautiful outside, pretty calm early on this morning. So for all the folks who are out on boats as you head throughout your Tuesday, you're not dealing with too much in the way of choppy water. And overall, it is going to be a fantastic Tuesday. Very seasonal, but again, that heat can sneak up on you when you're spending time outside. So if you're working outdoors or you have kiddos in your life that are camping today, make sure there's lots of hydration included in your time outdoors. Temperature-wise, we're sitting kind of in that low to mid-20 range, feeling a little warmer than that, but temperatures will climb throughout the day. And this ridge and the jet stream really taking over a good portion of the country. So everybody kind of indulging in the heat as we head throughout the day today. We'll see a daytime high this afternoon, 28, but again, it will feel into the mid-30s. So don't let the fact that we don't have brilliant sunshine the entire day fool you. It is still very warm out there, and we do have a UV index on the high side at an 8 for us here in the city and across most of the GTA. But into the afternoon, again, we'll feel into the 30s right across southern Ontario, northern Ontario as well. So maybe you're off this week and you're watching us from the cottage. Beautiful forecast to spend some time outside. Into this evening, we don't really lose any of that heat despite the wind becoming more northerly. So keep that in mind. It's going to be warm and a little muggy out there. We should be at 17, so we're not wildly above that seasonal norm for the overnight low, but it is challenging if you don't have AC. So check on the more vulnerable people in your life, especially those who don't have AC. Again, some cloud cover today. We're watching a system that's going to eventually make its way into southern Ontario. It will push out that high pressure, not an epic kind of rainstorm by any means, but we're watching for scattered showers as we head through that kind of second half of our day tomorrow. It won't cool things down dramatically, but at least overnight we get a little closer to the seasonal norms. As we head throughout our afternoon today, a little more late day sunshine. So again, that kind of heats us up into that second half of the day. As we get in towards the early part of the evening, a little cloud cover returns, and then we step into the day tomorrow a little cloudier. So again, dry for the commute to work for a lot of people, but we're watching the system kind of trickling its way in as we head throughout the midpoint of our day. In towards the lunch hour, not again a ton of rain, but just keep in mind if you are spending time outdoors, maybe you're taking the day off, you have campers, to pack maybe a little bit of rain gear. The heavier showers up towards Kitchener and through to Aurora with the chance of maybe some pop-up thunderstorms. But as we head into the evening and into the day on Thursday, high pressure starts to return and we see just a little bit of sunshine out there. So the heat will start to build back up. But again, we mentioned it earlier in the show, we're in that time of year where you have all this heat that builds up. You need a cold front kind of slices through and the chance of pop-up showers just kind of stays with us throughout the summer season. Temperature-wise, again, throughout the majority of this week, it's not too bad out there. We'll sit at about 28 as we head throughout our Tuesday. Very similar into the day tomorrow, a little closer to seasonal for that overnight low. The best chance of that active weather into the second half of your day. Through your Thursday, beautiful outside. Lots of sunshine, but again, those humidex values in that kind of low to mid 30 range. So just be careful spending extra time outdoors. Hopefully this helps you plan. I'll send things back over to Nathan.
All right. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks.
After the break, CTV's Pat Foran will have the story of a Toronto couple that spent almost $500,000 after a contractor did some work on the roof of their home.
There have been increasing warnings from police recently to be careful of contractors offering services for roofing jobs and other home renovations.
CTV's Pat Foran has the story of a Toronto couple who hired a company for a roofing job, which ballooned into almost $500,000.
It's been very upsetting and scary.
Angelique Davies and Frank Novello are still in shock after being pressured into paying for renovations that will have to be done over again, as well as some work that wasn't needed at all. They have an older home in Toronto and did have leaks in their roof that needed to be repaired. Novello had previously chatted with contractors he had seen in the neighborhood.
This fellow in a pickup truck recognized me, and he knew my first name, Frank. And he gave me a brochure
The couple asked the company to check their roof in December of last year. The contractor claimed when he saw it, it was a disaster waiting to happen.
The condition of the roof was so terrible that it was going to cave in. They had us feeling very frightened.
They ripped the roof off, leaving their home exposed to the elements. At one point, there were 20 different leaks. The workers then claimed there were other serious problems.
Oh no, there's something wrong with the walls, and these walls will not hold up a new roof, so we have to fix that.
The company also created huge electrical issues in their home and also tried to convince them they needed major foundation work. Over a period of less than 2 months, the couple paid the contractor $480,000. When you look back on the fact that it's $480,000, how do you feel about that big number?
It's breathtaking.
The company they signed a contract with is Thompson Roofing and Construction. Their phone number is no longer in service. Emails from CTV News were not returned, and the address on their website is incomplete. The couple says it hasn't heard from the company in 6 months, and work that was done will have to be ripped up and done again by another contractor.
Rain and melting snow came pouring through.
But has this been repaired after paying all this money?
This has not been repaired yet.
The couple is hopeful they can get back some of their money somehow, but also wanted to share their story to warn others.
I feel frustrated. I'm mad at myself for trusting them.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Carburetors could soon be a thing of the past in Vancouver. The city's considering making them illegal in all new construction projects.
Other cities have already done this, and it's not the first time it has been debated there. CTV's Sinjin Alexander has the details.
Wouldn't it be fun to never have to wrap a bit of garbage?
Once highly fashionable, in fact, like a television set, all the good homes had one.
This wonderful appliance is completely out of your way.
Now, decades later, they're not considered so swell. And a motion before Vancouver City Council argues they should be scrapped altogether. In new homes, that is.
It doesn't just disappear down the drain. It actually costs us, and it costs us all.
Put forward by Councillor Pete Fry. He points to the strain they put on our treatment plants. It's not just fruit and veg that are plunged, but lots of fatty bits that are creating big, ugly bits called fatbergs.
If we can mitigate and minimize the amount of organic material that has to be screened and removed from the system, it's probably a good thing for us in the long run.
Cities all over North America have already turfed them. Raleigh in North Carolina, one of the first, and at the time, not a popular move.
I've heard the word dictatorship used. People in Garner are using it. They even refer to it as a big brother mentality.
People were putting the wrong things down, and that caused frequent sewage overflows.
They'll do their part to let the customers know when they come in to buy these that they're banned.
In Metro Vancouver, banning disposal units has been debated several times over several years, but it never really picked up steam. Possibly because they're not as fashionable, there aren't as many, and people have taken to composting.
But there was a lot of pushback from the industry at the time, and because it was coming up on election year, I think the council had cold feet and they backed off.
Even so, council will decide this week whether to ban carburetors or toss the idea once again. Sinjin Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
An accomplished Toronto golfer is among dozens of deaf Canadian athletes who may be on the sidelines for an international competition in Tokyo.
CTV's Beth McDonnell has more on the funding gaps they're hoping to get addressed.
Russell Bowie's passion for golf has led to serious success. Bowie is hard of hearing and has been wearing hearing aids since he was a toddler. He's also the current world deaf golf champion and was a silver medalist at the last Deaf Olympics in Brazil.
It was an amazing experience, and finishing a podium and doing well and was just it was something I'll never forget. But obviously this time there's one more spot, there's one better spot to get.
The next Deaf Olympics are in November, and this time Bowie hopes to bring home gold. But those dreams could be over for him and close to 50 other hard of hearing and deaf athletes set to travel for the competition if the Canadian Deaf Sports Association doesn't raise enough money.
It would just be a big loss mentally, emotionally, and also just a lot of money has been spent preparing up to this point as well. So to have all that just go away and nothing to show for it would be a shame.
The association says it's trying to raise $100,000, but so far only has $30,000. While Canada has been sending athletes to the Deaflympics since the 1960s, it says the cost of living has risen significantly and traveling to Japan is very expensive. And it's calling on Canadians to help send this year's contingent.
And now kind of the recent development of, maybe a funding shortfall is definitely not something you wanted to be thinking about.
Bowie says there's been a lot of excitement to represent Canada in Japan, and he and other athletes will be devastated if they can't go.
Just a really neat, cool, enriching opportunity that, for all of us going, it's something that, we love doing, and we do everything we can to be a part of these competitions.
Beth McDonnell, CTV News.
Still to come, landing in a theater near you with a Canadian contingent, a world premiere for the newest Superman movie.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
Well, breaking news from Manitoba, where two planes collided this morning near the community of Steinbach. The RCMP has officers on scene and is investigating. Steinbach is about an hour's drive south of Winnipeg. Once again, two small planes have collided near Steinbach, Manitoba. Now, more details are expected. You can follow this story online at ctvnewstoronto.ca and get a fresh update on CTV News Toronto at 5 and 6 tonight.
TikTok is pulling sponsorships for several Canadian art institutions, including the Juno Awards and the Toronto International Film Festival.
The move comes as the platform is complying with a federal order to shut down its Canadian operations. In the U.S., TikTok is reportedly working on a new version of its popular video sharing app ahead of a major sale of a group of American investors. Now, the change would potentially sever the app's connection to China by using a different algorithm, offering a new user experience.
The secret sauce of TikTok is its algorithm, and that really has been at the core of this controversy over these apparent national security concerns that lie at the root of why this law exists in the first place. And so it will not be able to use the algorithm. Chinese government and ByteDance have both said they will not include it in any possible transaction. So literally the guts of TikTok will have to be rebuilt from scratch.
Meanwhile, there's renewed speculation about the future of the platform after U.S. President Donald Trump indicated talks with China on a possible TikTok deal could happen. The company has reportedly developed a plan to launch the new app in the U.S. market in September. Last month, Trump extended the deadline for a third time for TikTok's parent company, ByteDance, to sell its U.S. assets.
After more than 100 years in production, the company behind Jersey Milk says the chocolate bars are being discontinued. The bars were first developed by dairy brand William Nielsen in 1924 and only produced in Canada, but production fell under Mondelez International after a series of acquisitions. The company says the decision to drop the Jersey Milk bar was the result of a drop in demand. However, the company confirmed the move will not result in any job losses.
Now to a world premiere in Los Angeles for the new Superman movie.
CTV's E-Talk was on the red carpet and spoke to one of the Canadian stars.
This is crazy. I had a comic book rack in my room when I was a kid. I was steeped in all of this stuff, and here I am. It's my job. I'm living it. I'm literally living the dream.
Is it a real pinch me moment? I mean, I feel like...
It's all the stuff I got in trouble for as a kid. Daydreaming, drawing in the margins of my binders when I should have been studying or taking notes. And who's laughing now?
And the first reviews for the summer blockbuster are out with largely high praise for the start of a new DC superhero universe helmed by director James Gunn. Superman hits theaters on Friday.
Excellent. Coming up, Joey the Otter celebrates 5 years in a new home after going viral online. That story's coming up.
Stunning shots of animals, mountains, and glaciers were featured in the portfolios of those competing for International Aerial Photographer of the Year. Photos like this one of a spinner shark hunting a school of fish landing a spot in the winning portfolio taken by Joanna Steidel from New York. Organizers received more than 1,500 entries from around the world by photographers taking shots from above, often using drones or from planes or helicopters. This was the first year of this competition, highlighting the unique perspective.
An otter who became a viral sensation during the pandemic is celebrating 5 years in his new home. Joey was rescued from a remote area on Vancouver Island in 2020 after he was found orphaned. Now, his rehabilitation earned him an online following. Now he lives at the Vancouver Aquarium, where he celebrated his milestone with some friends and a fish cake. Good for him.
Joey's living it up. Yep.
Friends and snacks. Summertime's all about friends and snacks, right?
Oh, yes, and sunshine and heat, and a little cloudy today, but not too bad.
You know what? I'll take it. Sometimes it's nice to get a bit of a break from that direct sunlight, and we have that cloud cover out there, but it's still really warm out there. We still have a very high UV index, so the cloud cover not doing much to cool things down as we head throughout the day today, but we are really heading into a very seasonal stretch. So after that kind of heat wave we had to kick off the summer season, we're back to where we should be. A little cloud cover right now, but we will see a little more late day sunshine. We're sitting at 23 right now, feels like 28, and we're climbing up to a daytime high into the upper 20s. So it's still close to where we should be right across the board, but it is going to be a warm one out there. So if you're heading out this afternoon, this evening, still in the mid to upper 20s. So lots of water, a good idea as you head throughout your Tuesday evening. Heading into the rest of the week, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, looking good. Thank you, Jess. And that is it for CTV News at noon. Remember, you can get Toronto's breaking news all day long on CP24 and at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Jessica Smith and the whole team here, have a pleasant afternoon. I'm Michelle Dubé.
And I'm Nathan Downer. Be sure to join us later for CTV News at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon.